Good morning. Thank you all for attending this, what I think is going to be a very important hearing. And Senator Blumenthal, I want to thank you for the hard work you've put into drafting this piece of legislation. Senator Feinstein is on the way. She said it would be okay if we got started. I normally don't say a whole lot in opening statements, but I might take a bit of time today. I want to introduce into the record my full statement that I'll introduce into the record without objection, and kind of remind people what brought us here today. In July, we had a hearing about sexual exploitation of children, social media applications, technical companies having data about child exploitation. And I'm trying to find a way to child-proof these systems and make sure innovation continues and that the people in the business know what they need to do to earn liability protection when it comes to preventing sexual exploitation of children. Section 230 was passed years ago, which basically gives blanket immunity to the tech companies' social media sites that are subject to this hearing to make sure they could get started, grow, and flourish. That has been accomplished. Now it is time for us as a nation to figure out about how to rein in some of the problems associated with these industries. Number one, I've come to conclude that the technical systems available today have been our dream come true for child predators. That for every good thing that's happened with the internet, for lack of a better term, there are dark forces that need to be dealt with. And what I've done with Senator Blumenthal is come up with a system to create best business practices for companies in the arena to follow. And if they follow these best business practices, they can keep their 230 liability protection. And the reason we're here with a different approach is because Senator Blumenthal and myself believe the current system is not working. In the July hearing, the regulatory and system in place is just simply not working. It's become, in the minds of many, a joke. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, also known as NCMEC, in 1998, the NCMEC cyber tip line was first created. There were just over 4,000 reports of online sexual exploitation. By 2014, there were 1.1 million reports in a year. 2019, there were almost 17 million reports to the tip line in a single year. The 2019 reports included more than 69 million images, videos, and files related to child exploitation. There was a particular increase in video last year. Of the files reported, 41 million of the 69 million were videos. A 23-year-old daycare worker pleaded guilty to child exploitation and child pornography and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. She sexually abused a 5-year-old child and filmed the abuse, shared the abuse material mainly using an app called Kik with men she met through other apps and forums, including Craigslist. A 23-year-old man sexually abused a 16-month-old toddler. He took photos and videos of the abuse and shared them on an app. He said he chose the toddler because she couldn't communicate her abuse. Section 230 has failed, in my view, to incentivize the companies in question to do a better job dealing with this horrific problem. Company reports of child sexual exploitation to the cyber tip line. Social media companies reports in 2019. Out of the total 16.9 million reports to the cyber tip line, Facebook was 15.8 million. To the people at Facebook, thank you. You're doing a pretty good job. Doing a good job. Twitter, 46,000. Snapchat, 82,000. Apple, Amazon, 8. And 205 for Apple. So something is wrong here. I am not convinced that all the problems are on the Facebook system. I'm convinced that other people are not finding what Facebook is able to find if you look. And here's the question for the country. Should we be looking? Should the companies in question be looking and reporting? The answer is yes. What role do adults have in protecting the children of one society? What role do politicians have in aiding parents to protect their children from sexual exploitation? What is the duty to allow commerce to grow unimpeded to its highest and best use? All of these are things that we're grappling with, but let me tell you where I'm coming down. I'm coming down on the side of looking and trying to find out and put these bastards in jail and stop it. I'm on the side of parents who really don't have the tools at home. It's just too complicated for any set of parents, a single parent or anybody, to protect their child. You need help. What's the role of the Congress? To provide the help, to find a balance between business, free thought and expression, and protecting children who are being filmed daily, their abuse, and everybody who watches it is part of the abuse. This has got to stop. You'll never stamp it out. It's been around as long as man has been around. But the technologies today have created an explosion in terms of sexual exploitation of children being widely viewed and shared. And it is now time for us to do something. I've had lunches, I've had dinners, I have talked, I have begged and pleaded. My good friend Senator Wyden, we've talked. I'm tired of talking. We're going to start voting. We're not going to sit on the sidelines anymore. So all we're asking is that we come up with a system, voluntary in nature, sit down among ourselves as a people and find out what are the best business practices and encourage you to use them. And if you do, you're home free. If you don't, you run the risk of going to court. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. This is the only area in society I know where you have absolute blanket protection. And it made sense back then. It doesn't make sense now, and particularly in this area. So where's the other chart? No, this one here. This is where the reportings come from. 15 million reports by Facebook. Google, 449,000. Amazon, 8. Apple, 205. Clearly, Facebook is looking and finding something other people are not looking for, or it's there, you just got to look. So Facebook is talking about end-to-end encryption, which means they go blind. This bill is not about the encryption debate, but the best business practices, I'm dying to find out what they should be. And the Congress under our bill has to approve them for them to become the law of the land. So we're having the Attorney General with other cabinet officials to set up a commission of 19 people to try to figure out what are the best ways to protect children from sexual exploitation and it being shared with millions and millions and millions of people in regulating these sites. And once the commission has decided what to do, Congress has to approve it before the companies in question decide whether or not they want to embrace these practices. It's bipartisan. I've got 10 co-sponsors. I think if we voted, we'd get a lot of votes. My goal is to fix the problem, understanding the complexity of it, not to put anybody out of business, not to stop innovation, but to do something about the fact that children on a massive scale are being abused by groups of individuals, and the abuse is being shared to millions of people, which incentivizes the abuse. So, Senator Blumenthal, thank you for working with me to come up with a balanced approach that gets us off the sidelines as a nation. I'll end with this. I am not going to stay on the sidelines any longer. Facebook is doing a damn good job of finding out sexual abuse on their platform, and they're reporting it, and prosecutors are acting. The other sites, not so much. We're not going to go blind as a nation. We're not going to go blind and let this abuse go forward in the name of any other freedom. Any society that fails to protect its children and do all this within reason to do so has lost their way. America is not going to lose its way.